what we're going to learn today is going to help you with almost anything that you choose to do with art.
Just 2 circles?
2 circles so far.
So far?
So far. We got to shade them.
Do they have to be like right across?
You can put them wherever you want on your paper. That particularly does not matter. We just want to make sure we have 2. Okay, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start on this side because I don't want to smudge what I'm working on. So I'm going to put my value scales or my shading in pencil here and then my color here. Okay? You choose to do this however you want, but I'm starting with this guy because I'm left-handed. Okay, so how many of you have done the shading practices with me before? Almost everyone has if you've taken a class with me, okay? We did the value scale and then we shaded the sphere, right? That's the same thing we're going to do right now. But what we need to start with to create a sphere, what's the first thing you need to have on your paper other than the circle? Huh?
A shadow.
You're close. What creates the shadow?
A light source.
Light source, okay? So you need now to determine where you're going to put your light source. You can put it wherever you want. I'm going to have mine over here. So I'm going to write with a little arrow, light source. Ooh. Sorry.
I just said sun, like a circle.
Put light source. That is the proper term. Okay. Now, do you want to just jump in and shade your own sphere, or would you like me to show you and you do it with me? Do it with me? Okay, because I know that some of you already know how to do this, so if you want to just jump in, that's totally fine. But since we're a little new at this, I'm going to go ahead and use my HB to begin. And now, I would say, is a good time to put in our shadow. So, if my light source is over here, shadow is going to be on this side or that side? 1 or 2?
Left side.
1 or 2?
1.
Thank you. So, and I like to reference like a baseball cap when we do this. But you just want to bring in a little line underneath. Now, do not have your line come all the way up here. Okay? Realistically, that would not happen. We want it to be about 1/3 of the way down. So don't go halfway. Make sure it's 1/3 of the way down. Now, because this is super easy, what between shades 1 and 9 would this be? If 1 is white,
5?
no. What?
Would it be like 9?
Yes. 9 is the darkest dark, right? And your shadow is your darkest spot, okay? 5 is a mid-tone. So, we're going to go ahead with our 8B. So right there. Woo! There it is, okay? Your 8B. And you want to go ahead and shade as close to the sphere as you can with the darkest value, okay? Now I'm going to shade till I hit about 1/3 of the way out with this pencil. Then, from here, I'm going to stop with this pencil, grab my 4B right there, okay? And finish it up with a blending technique of a heavy pressure and circle motions. So I can blend that line so it's not heavy. And then as you pull the value out, you want to lighten your value. Now, does this feel similar to what we've done before? Perfect. That's what I want to hear. So now we have our shadow.
Then the 4B.
4B. Yep, you go from your 8B to 4B. When you're done, put your pencils down so I know. I think we're almost there. Okay. Are we ready to move on? Or do you need like a few more seconds? I don't know unless you tell me. Thank you. Okay. Let's go with the 8B. Nope, I lied, 4B. Okay, with the 4B, remember, we're gonna have a dark line right here, right? From what we've done in the past. But there is that little sliver that's like a little bit of a highlight, right? So let's keep that in. And I'm going to start with just drawing a very thin, like crescent shape connected to my sphere. And if I zoom in, you guys see that little line? I wish this thing would zoom in. I don't know how to make it do that. I've tried. Okay, now we're going to go ahead with our 8B and we're going to make that really sharp. Do you guys remember that really sharp dark crescent line that like shapes it? Okay. Now remember, when you are shading, we don't want to go back and forth, right? Why? Do you guys know why we don't want to go back and forth on a sphere? Yeah, because your sphere is a circle. It's literally a circle shape, and we want it to be round. So when we shade, we want to make sure we hug the shape. Does that make sense? Okay. So we're going to come in with our 8B, and I'm going to start with darkening that line. Like so. And then I'm going to just come back in with a circle motion. And notice I'm going pretty light right now. I'm going to stay light till I get the shape that I want, and then I'll make it nice and dark. So I'm just coming back and forth, layering on top of each line. And we do not want this line to be straight, because then we're losing our shape. So you want to make sure that as you're coming through, we're rounding it out. I don't want to see any spheres that have stripes. Okay, we're going to slowly blend it all together. So now that I feel like I have a decent, at least, shape, I'm going to come back in with my 8B again and just darken up all of this space. Because essentially, this needs to be about a 9. Which, if we've learned in our previous shadow, is as dark as we can go. Also, just a reminder, if you have not turned in your portrait or full body assessment drawing, you might want to do that soon, because I am going to start putting in those grades. And I'll just wait till you guys get to this point. I'm going to fix my shape here. Okay. Now, from this point on, we need to slowly start going lighter till we hit the center, right, where our highlight will be. So before we do anything else with my HB, I'm going to come in and just do the teeniest, lightest sliver right up on that top part. So you guys see that like really, really light line? Do you see that, Ray? I don't know how else to show you.
I can see it.
It's so teeny. It's like right there. Okay? You do not want it to be very dark. I'm just putting it there so I know where my 1 is going to be and how big I want my 1 to be. From there, it's going to help me figure out where my midtones will be versus my dark tones. Okay? Okay. We good on that? Fantastic. Now, grab your 4B. Grab your 4B pencil. Okay? From here, we're going to continue the same method. We're going to start with a heavy pressure to blend this line, and then as we go towards the center, you're going to want to lighten everything up. Once we hit about here, I'm going to switch to my HB. Okay? So, all this I have to cover first. So I'm going to come in with heavy pressure so that I don't have that harsh line and it blends in really nicely. You might not need too much heavy pressure because these are brand new pencils. So they should be pretty eager to work properly. However, if you're noticing a harsh line, please go in and blend that together. And this is the part that's slightly time consuming. Please be careful. Don't just rush through. You're going to feel like you're getting bored and you want to go faster. And I understand how that is because I want to do it right now. But I'm going to try to slow down and keep a steady pace. Okay, so I'm noticing down here needs to be darker. I'm coming back. I'm putting another layer on top. Because I can't hit midtones yet. We're not there yet. So I gotta go back and go into like 7 and 8. How many of you remember what I'm talking about when I talk about these numbers? Okay, good. That means we might, as a class, need to do, or at least I can demo it, the numbers. What?
Is it going to be like the color wheel thing?
No. Remember when we did the squares? We shaded the squares together?
No.
I think I'll either do a demo of it or you guys can do it with me. It's super good for you to remember because I'm going to reference point all of the numbers. So I think I probably should teach you what they mean if you don't already know. So you see how as I do those circle motions, you get really soft value, okay? It's starting to actually feel more like a real sphere. This is where when you do realistic portraits and you want a really nice, almost photo-like picture that you're drawing, you really want that circle softness, because that's going to help everything look more realistic. So I haven't quite hit that line yet, but I'm going to grab my HB anyways because I feel like I've done enough. So I'm going to grab my HB and just continue what I'm doing. And I want just a hair of value over the lip of this sphere. And if you notice, I'm holding my pencil all the way to the back, okay? If you hold it forward, you're going to have too much temptation to press hard. If you hold it all the way to the back, you also can use way more of the lead than just the tip. So I would recommend holding it further back in your hand and just letting yourself control it from afar. versus being right on top of it. Okay. Hopefully you have finished. If you have not, that's fine. I'm going to give you more time. I want you taking your time, so please don't go too fast.